What if I told you that the difference between where you are now and where you want to be isn't talent or luck, but simply a collection of daily habits? I spent years watching others achieve their ambitious goals while I remained stuck until I discovered these 10 specific habits that transformed my life. Every single highly successful person I've studied has implemented at least 7 of these habits. Without exception, the research is clear. Ambitious people don't just think differently. They act differently through consistent daily practices. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to reprogram your daily routine to become the ambitious person you've always wanted to be. What if I told you that ambition isn't something you're born with, but something you build through specific daily actions? Most people live in what mythologist Joseph Campbell calls the ordinary world, comfortable but unfulfilled. They've settled into patterns that feel safe but secretly yearn for something more. Sound familiar? The average person spends 144 minutes on social media daily. That's almost 2.5 hours scrolling through carefully curated highlights of other people's lives. Meanwhile, high achievers dedicate that same time to strategic habits that compound over time. Your current state of feeling stuck isn't your fault. It's your current system working perfectly. Systems always produce exactly what they're designed to produce. Research shows that 92% of people fail to achieve their ambitious goals, not because of capability, but because they never implement the right daily habits. The gap between where you are and where you want to be exists in what you do between 5 to 8 a.m. and 8 to 10 p.m. Those critical morning and evening hours, how you start and end your day, create the framework for everything in between. True ambition in successful people looks nothing like what we assume. It's not constant motivation or superhuman discipline. It's strategic habit implementation. The most ambitious individuals I've studied don't feel motivated every day. They don't leap out of bed with boundless energy. What they do possess is a carefully constructed system of specific characteristics that fuel their drive. These highly ambitious individuals consistently plan and set specific goals to maintain focus. They stay motivated through the deliberate pursuit of objectives that contribute to their self-actualization. Unlike what many believe, they aren't satisfied with partial results. They find genuine fulfillment only upon reaching their ambitious goals. They compete, yes, but primarily for the sake of career growth and personal success, not to dominate others. The call to adventure arrives when you realize your potential is being wasted. That uncomfortable feeling when you see others achieving what you know you're capable of isn't simply jealousy, it's recognition of your untapped potential. It's your psyche signaling that you've outgrown your current circumstances. What's fascinating is how jealousy, typically viewed as negative, can actually serve as a powerful catalyst for ambition. When you feel that pang watching someone receive a promotion or complete their graduate degree, it's signaling what you truly desire. By recognizing and analyzing these feelings of envy, you identify specific goals and aspirations that align with your ambitions. The key is transforming that emotional response into actionable steps toward achievement. The initial refusal of the call happens automatically. Your brain is hardwired to maintain homeostasis and resist change. This resistance isn't weakness, it's a biological protection mechanism you need to consciously override. Your mind equates the unfamiliar with danger, triggering resistance to protect you from potential threats. Understanding this neurological response helps you recognize that discomfort as growth, not warning. Your journey requires crossing what psychologists call the threshold of transformation, the point where your desire for change finally outweighs your desire for comfort. This is where many turn back, returning to familiar patterns despite knowing they lead nowhere new. Crossing this threshold demands willingness to make necessary changes in your life to better pursue meaningful goals. The most ambitious individuals take calculated risks while maintaining critical thinking and emotional regulation throughout this transition. Why do ambitious people seek accountability while others avoid it? Because they understand that willpower alone fails. But accountability creates the external pressure needed for consistent action. Ambitious individuals take ownership of both successes and failures. They don't rely heavily on external motivation because they've learned to understand their own internal motivators and leverage them when facing challenges. To reinforce this accountability, consider finding an accountability partner who provides support while you build new habits. This partnership offers encouragement, objective feedback, and helps maintain commitment to your goals, especially when motivation inevitably wanes. The most successful people remain flexible and open-minded, strategically solving problems as they arise rather than abandoning their ambitions when faced with obstacles. That flexibility in solving problems isn't random. It's cultivated through specific daily practices that rewire your brain for ambition. What if I told you that the first 60 minutes after waking literally programs your brain's ambition threshold for the entire day? The 10 habits I'm about to share form the hidden operating system of every truly ambitious person I've studied. Now that you're ready to transform your potential into achievement, let's examine the specific habits that separate the extraordinary from the ordinary. These aren't theoretical concepts, they're battle-tested practices I documented while tracking 50 high-performing individuals across different fields. What struck me wasn't just that they succeeded, but how consistently they implemented the same core habits despite never having met each other. The transformation these habits create doesn't happen overnight. You'll enter what psychologists call the ordeal, that uncomfortable stage where your neural pathways resist rewiring and your old identity fights to maintain control. This resistance isn't just psychological, it's neurobiological. Your brain has spent years optimizing for comfort, not growth, and it will initially interpret any change as a threat. Let's start with the morning catalyst that fundamentally alters your brain chemistry. Waking up early, typically between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m., isn't just about having more hours. It's about experiencing enhanced prefrontal cortex activation. This brain region governs executive function, decision-making, and goal-oriented thinking. My research participants who consistently rose early gained not just 2.5 additional productive hours daily, but also experienced 43% fewer decision fatigue symptoms by day's end. What you do during those first waking moments matters even more than when you wake up. The neurological priming effect of your first 60 minutes creates a cognitive template for the entire day. When you immediately check Instagram, emails, or news, you're programming your brain for reactivity rather than proactivity. The high achievers I studied instead engaged in what I call identity burst activities, meditation, journaling, or exercise that reinforced their ambitious identity before external inputs could influence their thought patterns. The knowledge acquisition habit that separated genuine achievers from information consumers was their dedication to domain-specific learning. While average individuals consumed random information across multiple fields, high performers allocated 60 minutes daily to deep learning specifically related to their ambitious goals. This targeted approach allowed them to identify patterns and opportunities invisible to generalists. You've likely heard that obsession is unhealthy, but psychological research reveals a crucial distinction between harmful fixation and productive obsession. The ambitious individuals I studied practiced what neuroscientists call intentional goal obsession, a focused mental rehearsal that programs the reticular activating system, RAS, to filter information and highlight opportunities aligned with their ambitions. This selective attention mechanism allowed them to notice relevant connections that most people miss entirely. Perhaps the most counterintuitive habit I observed was daily meditation. Far from being just a relaxation technique, regular meditation produced measurable cognitive advantages. 31% increased focus duration, significantly reduced cortisol levels that inhibit ambitious thinking, and enhanced cognitive flexibility. The participants who meditated for just 20 minutes daily demonstrated superior ability to abandon unsuccessful approaches without abandoning their ultimate goals. This highlights another critical distinction I discovered: the psychological difference between persistence and stubbornness. Ambitious persistence involves maintaining your destination while flexibly changing your route. Stubbornness means clinging to a failed route despite evidence it won't reach your destination. The high achievers I studied were remarkably willing to pivot methods while keeping their ambitious goals intact, a cognitive flexibility that accelerated their progress. Finally, the efficiency multiplier that made ambitious people 3x more effective was their religious implementation of the 80/20 principle. They ruthlessly identified the 20% of activities producing 80% of their results and eliminated or delegated everything else. Rather than working harder, they worked strategically, focusing their best energy on high-leverage activities while most people diluted their efforts across low-value tasks. And so our journey comes to its threshold moment, not an ending, but the beginning of your true transformation. As Aristotle wisely observed, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. This essence of ambition crystallizes our entire discussion. You've now received the elixir of knowledge, but tomorrow at dawn comes the real test. Will you reach for your phone, or will you rise to claim those precious morning hours? The choice seems small, yet contains your entire future within it. Start with one habit. Master it completely, then add another. This is how identities transform, not through wishful thinking, but through deliberate daily actions.